A simple miscommunication took a movie and turned it into the flop of this year.
I agree.
And going forward, this is for all listeners and anybody that likes to watch movies. When you watch movies, you use your eyes and you use your ears. Before you go see any movie produced by Disney this year, please read about it before you go.
Right, and that's one thing I've always said is you can't always go off of the opinion of somebody else. Like you can listen to it, but you also need to form your own opinion, because if we would have listened to what anybody said about this movie, we never would have watched it.
Right. But now, King Germ, do your thing, player.
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy King Germ, one half of Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Each and every Friday, Queen Germ and myself drop an episode to show the people how Pod and Saved Our Marriage. Now, we're not like most married couples. Most of the time we disagree, but that's the beauty of the show. So, when you get through listening to Sparrows UnderReview, come give us a listen. Each and every Friday on any DSP, go look for Pod and Saved Our Marriage.
Whoa. It's been a while since we've been like here actually recording, sitting down. I don't apologize about anything because life does what life does, and
Right.
we've been around everywhere. Been in Asheville, North Carolina, a great place to visit if you get a chance. And I am very proud of the efforts that people have been taking to build it back up. What about you, Stacey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's slow and steady. Hopefully those that need it still are able to get the help that they need. Sorry about that. I'm moving around too much. Hopefully, the small people are able to get the help that they need, and not just the big businesses and industries, because that's the thing I noticed the most is a lot of the bigger industries have already been able to rebuild. So hopefully everybody's able to help out with the smaller groups.
Okay, I got you there. You gotta do something about that cord. That cord is like moving and grooving. I thought I had set
Listen,
you
you
up.
set this all up, and I didn't touch it today. And
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Yeah, I thought I had you in a good manner.
No.
But anyway, we offer pretty good quality on this show. Now let's jump into this. Disney made a movie, Simply Snow White, 2025 American musical fantasy film. And before we go into the detail, I got tongue tied there. Here's my take on this. No one told me that this was a reimagination of the 1937 film.
Right. And I think, like you were talking about earlier, that was the miscommunication with all of this stuff, is that I thought that it was a remake of Snow White just turned into a live action. And that is just simply not what it was. Like you said, it was a reimagination. So there are different parts. You're getting a little bit of a different story. I mean, the basics of it, you have a queen, you have a princess, she eats the apple, you have your 7 dwarfs or your 7 little people, whatever you want to call them. And why are you messing with my volume?
You're a little loud in my ears. Keep going, though.
Well, turn your headphones down. So no, you take over. It's all right.
Oh, snap. I'm going to take over. Wow. Anyway, I didn't really want to take over. I was wanting you to finish what you were saying.
I don't even know where I was at.
All right, so let's go with this real quick. So here's a take that I had to do to myself. I honestly made a mistake with this film the first time I've ever done this in my life with a film. Somehow I took Snow White, Cinderella, and a few of the Disney princess movies, and I mixed them all together and made the story of Snow White.
Well, see, and I was taking the, let me pull it up, but I read a book, and I don't want to butcher it, so give me just a few seconds to fill it up. But I was reading
one of the villainous books.
Yeah, one of the villainous books. Let's see. It was something about the evil queen.
Okay, I'll put a little filler in here real quick.
Yeah.
So what happened with me in this film, the first part, because we're not going into deep detail yet, we had to go back and watch the 1937 Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs that Disney made. And we watched the first 30 minutes of it. And I will encourage everyone, before you watch this Snow White movie, go watch the original, the first 30 minutes at least.
Right.
And that's where you'll make your comparison. It was
Mhm.
hard. Right?
Yeah, and I think that if you haven't seen the Disney cartoon version, I think you should watch that first. But like we've said, you need to go into it understanding that it's not the same movie. It's a little bit different. So go watch them both. But it was called Fairest of All by Serena Valentino.
Okay.
So I was combining her story with Snow White. So it was still a Snow White story, kind of, but it had a different take. And I highly recommend you go read those books as well.
So
But
you
make sure you read them in the correct order.
so basically you kind of did the same thing I did, but I did it way worse because I'm talking about like
Right, you did different characters.
I didn't change fathers around. I didn't add it. I didn't. Now that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't turn the gnomes into rats or anything like that. But yeah, I got a little thrown off. Now, what attracted me to this film? And this is kind of crazy because everybody knows I have certain means and modes on how I get into movies. We were approaching a weekend that we were about to have,
Uh-huh.
and we knew that we had a little downtime and we need to have something to watch.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the last 3 weeks, when we've been working, we've only had half days,
Yeah,
which is amazing because, if you know, you know. If not, you can send us a message and we'll explain it to you later. But we had so much free time that we were able to sit down and just watch some movies and stuff. And especially last weekend, we got to spend the whole weekend with your mom. And
right.
I was excited about that. Stay tuned for the next few episodes because we're going to do some throwback movies.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
Some stuff that she liked. I mean,
Yeah.
she had a little curation of movies.
Put the projector up, and we were just watching the projector on her big old white wall.
Yeah, watching movies. Now, the thing with this movie, after I got through my first initial hiccup with
Mhm.
the reimagining thing, and the reimagining thing, people make sure you keep that in mind when you go see Lilo and Stitch because it clearly does state that.
Right.
So this whole reimagining process, which I actually like the idea of that
Mhm.
because it's taking a movie and making it different. I understand all the politics behind Snow White actually not being Snow White in color and condition.
Right, because that was the biggest thing in the initial Snow White movie because she was, how was it described? She was pale white, um, dark hair, and red lips. And so I think that is the biggest issue a lot of people had. I mean, I don't know, but it's a reimagination, and that's what we have to remember. Like when I think of Snow White, I think of somebody that is almost translucent, like the Cullens.
Right.
And it just, like, it kind of threw me for a loop, and it's still, like, because whatever. But you get the story of why her name was Snow.
Yeah, and this movie, I mean, it covered like this movie had political issues with it and all kinds of things because of casting and things like that. And that type of stuff, if you want to go to a podcast that's going to talk about all that, you can go do that. I'm not necessarily going to get into all that. But mainly, the identity of Snow White to me is one thing that kind of hurt this film. And I don't care, like, I'm not saying this in a racist term because I'm African American or anything, but when I think of Snow White, she is a pale white color, even in the animation and in other tellings of the story. So that's the only thing that kind of threw me off there. Then after that,
Well, because, and I'm going to read, and y'all can find this information on Google, but it said skin as white as snow, hair black as ebony, and lips red as a rose. So that's what I was assuming should have happened going into it, especially if you're a huge Disney fan.
right, and I get you there. So overall, when it comes to making these movies, it seems like Disney has a new formula. Let's remake it and let's make it a hardened musical.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I don't mind music sequences. Like they did good with Mufasa because it had song sequences, but then you had action, you had dialogue that made sense. Every time that this movie was getting good, it turned into a hardened musical.
Right. And they were just too long. Like it was, I remember sitting there watching the movie, and I don't remember which song it was. Like, it might have been like the second or third one of the movie. And I'm like, is this ever going to end? Why is it taking so long? If I know that it's a musical going in 100%, like I'm going to be a little okay with that, but I don't want a Disney movie to have a 5-minute song.
Right.
I know it probably wasn't that long, but that's what it felt like. It felt like it was forever. And I enjoyed, like you said, The Lion King because the songs made sense and all of that stuff, but shorten them up a little bit.
And with 109-minute runtime, that's not very long, but like you said, with music in it like that, it drags out.
Mhm.
I always relate it back to Bob Burger because Bob Burger really ruined itself for me as a movie because it was a flat out musical. And with this, I can understand certain parts, like you should have like, the songs that make sense,
Mhm.
like the whistle while you twerk. I mean, work. Whistle while you work. I understand.
Where's your head at?
Yeah, whistle while you twerk. So whistle while you work, I could see that could be a long sequence. I could have been fine with that, staying up there and being fairly long, but it was one of the rather short things that they did.
Right. And I don't know. Is there a section about the music here? Let's scroll down a little bit. Y'all know, if you've held on to us for this long, that we use Wikipedia.
Yes.
There's some music. Let's see. Waiting on a Wish, maybe?
Okay, yeah. And now I figured out something, y'all.
What is that?
I know one of the cast members. The evil queen is Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
And I made a choicey comment about some things behind the scenes, and I said that she should have played Cinderella, not knowing that she was the evil queen.
Okay. But, okay, so let's get away from the music. Obviously, I made some notes because I knew we were going to do an episode about it, and we knew it was like a very controversial movie as far as opinions. Bless you. And so what I did is, remember, it is not like the original Disney movie. And that is noted on Wikipedia. That was the miscommunication. I enjoyed the graphics. Like, I think that whoever put all of that stuff together did everything that was additional to the acting. I loved all of that stuff.
Set direction.
Hold on 1 second. He's got his allergies acting up. Sorry, y'all. And then the colors stood out to me, and we watched it on an iPad the first time. And if you don't have an iPad that you can watch while you're sitting in your car, you know, and you should invest in one because, you have the projector for inside the house. But if you don't want to do certain activities inside of the house and you just want to sit in your car because it's too cold, take you an iPad. Because I don't know, what was it? We spent like 2-3 hours in the car these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we consume a lot of time on the iPad.
Right.
And shout out to Apple, that 10th generation model. It's a low end model, but
and it's the one with the cell phone service, so
yeah,
that makes it nice.
Yeah, I don't believe in buying one without cell phone service. But anyway, enough about that. So this movie for me right here, what made it great, like you said, the actual scenery.
Listen, you say that like I was just rambling on. Listen, I had to just ramble because you needed a second to yourself.
Oh, well, listen. So the scenery and everything was immaculate. Like when she ran through that forest the first time, when Oh Boy set her free instead of killing her, even though he got because we can't. Oh yeah, we don't use the K word very much.
That's only when you're on TikTok.
Oh yeah, well I like to say unalived.
Right.
So he got unalived in the movie, and I was like, dang, for sacrificing himself for her.
Right.
Queen. The one thing I will say about this queen, the queen was probably the best acting point in the movie because every part she portrayed, like she did not play any games. And now I can say Wonder Woman can sing.
okay.
Yeah, you know. And anyway, going forward with the rest of this, the movie plays out in similar fashion. The only distinction that I will make, and it is a spoiler, and I have to tell this, is the reimagination of Snow White's father. His storyline is completely different from the 1937 version of
Mm-hmm.
him. So when you watch it, that's the one thing you got to take in consideration. Now, this film right here was another film that was affected by the strike.
Right.
Um, I don't know exactly all the details, but it kind of looks like this movie's been sitting around for about a year, roughly, right?
Right. Well, it says on October 31st, 2016, The Hollywood Reporter reported that Walt Disney Pictures was developing a live-action remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with Mark Platt. It says Disney has been considering a live action since early 2000s, and it said at one point planned on adapting the story as a martial arts film set in China.
Okay.
2019, it says that Mark Webb was in talks to direct. All your co-writers, let's see here. Casting in June of 2021, Rachel Ziegler was cast as the role.
Mm-hmm.
So there. When did they? Let's see. It doesn't say. You can go ahead.
So one thing I like to do is like Stacey always gets to talk about the numbers.
That's at the end. Skip that.
Okay. Well, overall, as a story, it was a fun story to listen to and watch. But outside of that, if you just watch it as a base film and you don't do all the other stuff around it, it's not that bad.
Right. 2022 is when they started filming parts of this.
Okay, and it finished up by 2024 though.
I haven't got that far. Yeah, well. Damn. Disney was unsatisfied with the film's original cut and ordered reshoots,
Damn.
which took place in June of 2024. The resulting resulting cut of the film replaced some of the originally intended ending with a new scene involving the evil queen and the magic mirror.
Okay, so Disney didn't even like the film in the very beginning.
Right.
So this is one of those things that if anybody's involved with films, this is like that black culture period for Disney. In this film, like I think the only reason it just didn't do well is it had too many politics, and that strike has hurt a lot of movies.
Right.
And this,
it has.
And this one, I think it was just one of the ones that got caught up in the controversy of all that and everything else that went on with it. And if you want to know everything else, go to Wikipedia for it. Will this be a film I ever watch again? No.
I'd like to watch it one more time, but I want to sit down and watch the original, and then I want to rewatch this one because we went in initially with the thought of everybody's negativity, and then there was so much confusion between the two of us trying to remember what happened in the first movie that I would just like to do another comparison.
I could see that in the future on a this and that episode.
We don't even have to do a podcast episode about it. We can just do that on our own as far as whatever when we have some free time.
Okay.
Dang. So on Wikipedia, underneath boycotts, another call to boycott was made by Republican supporters in 2024 following the election, as Ziegler posted F Donald Trump and attacked those who voted to reelect him, saying, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." Ziegler later issued and here's a typo, an apology, or a public apology, my bad, saying she did not intend any harm with her message.
Well,
That's a cop out.
well, we don't do politics on here, so that's why I didn't cover that.
Oh, okay.
And you can see everything else that aligned there, and then if you go back up to what went on with Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
that's why I said there's a lot of political stuff that went on with this. So this film, by nature, was going to bomb.
Right, just because of that statement. I don't care what your political views are, but there's no reason to write that type of thing. And that's kind of like, wow.
Right. So in context with any negativity that screenwriters gave it and
Yeah.
people like that, the merit of it as being something that had to be cultural.
Right. Well, I wanted to bring that up because I think that is where a lot of the negativity streamed around this movie as well.
Well, I said that at the very beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't
pay
attention to that part. I was probably looking or something.
Right.
But we didn't kind of like discuss it.
And if you look back up on Wikipedia or anybody else does, and you see the problems that they had with Wonder Woman and her nationality and background, there was stuff that dealt with Israelis and Palestinians. So this film was set to bomb its casting.
Okay. So basically, even if you do pay attention to that stuff and you care about that stuff, like throw that out of your mind and watch the movie, give it a shot, and then you can judge it afterwards and do all this research.
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of crazy. And just in that little bit, I read all that stuff.
Yeah.
So give us the numbers on how this movie became a box office flop.
Okay, let's see. What was their budget? Let me get up here. Sorry, y'all, I got to get to the top. Let's see. They said the budget was 240 to 270 million, which I don't get why there's such a wide budget. Like usually it's one number. Their box office was 204.9 million.
And even though that's one of the top box office of 2025, that I can understand why it was a flop, because when you're looking at that production budget and stuff, I think someone's putting the marketing portion in there too, because there's no way it's going to be 240 to 270, because you should have an accurate number on how much it costs.
Yeah.
For the movie.
I did look, of course, like I said, I get all my information from Google. I asked if it was still playing in theaters, so there's still a chance that number could go up a little bit more until it comes out of the theaters. It says some of them are still showing the movie. So if you got like a little mini home theater or local theater, hometown theater, that's what I was looking for. Just go watch it. Take your kids to watch it. Let them enjoy something new and good.
And I think though, with this being on streaming services like video on demand, and when I say video on demand, that means you have to rent it or buy it.
Right.
In that instance, I think it'll have another life there. It's going to end up being like Nightmare Before Christmas. It may not have done very well here or there, but it'll do better in the afterlife, as I call it. A physical release for this, Disney stomps itself in the foot because Lilo and Stitch is coming out now.
Right.
And children are going to go grab Lilo and Stitch. They're not going to worry with this. That's the one thing That's the one thing that they don't strategically plan.
Right. Well, I mean, Snow White has been in there long enough, so it's time for them to release another live action Disney movie. So, I mean, I think it's, about time. One thing I read down here at the bottom, production on Disney's live action remake of Tangled was suspended indefinitely in April of 2025 in the wake of the box office underperformance of Snow White. It has not yet been determined whether or not Tangled will resume production at some future date or undergo any changes to its crew or script. So I think if they would leave the politics out of Tangled, all of the extra bias and all of that extraness out of Tangled, they could make something out of it. But they also need to be forthcoming like they were with Lilo and Stitch to tell us, hey, this is a reimagination. It's not a remake, it's a reimagination. Those are two different definitions.
Right. But I think something's going on with this that happened with the superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fatigue. People, because, you had Mufasa, You have Snow White. Lilo and Stitch people got excited for because it was something that's very unexpected. And the
Mhm.
way that Stitch is portrayed, that's a current character. No offense to Snow White. I understand it's with the Disney and
Right.
princess stuff, but you see way more Stitch stuff. I can leave the house and go to a store and Stitch before any of this was going on was everywhere.
Right.
Snow White was not everywhere. She was on the doll owl sometime.
Well, I mean, you've also got to remember Snow White had one movie. Like, I mean, I know there was different remakes and stuff like that go along with it, but Lilo and Stitch had what, 2 movies and a TV series?
Yeah.
So you've had people that have constantly kept up with Lilo and Stitch. So it was easy to put more of its product out. And just the response to people that enjoyed Lilo and Stitch better than Snow White, you have more of that.
Okay.
So that's why you're seeing, in my opinion, more Lilo and Stitch products than you are Snow White products.
I can agree with that. So where's this movie going in your life? Where is it? What kind of archive? Where's it going? What's a rating for it?
I mean, I don't really have a rating for it. We kind of threw the rating systems out to me, but it's one of those ones where I think young kids are going to enjoy it. I think it was very well made for that. If you are 100% Snow White original fan, you're not going to like it, but it's something that I might pick up every now and then and watch, but it's not going to be in a constant rotation.
So it doesn't have Mufasa status.
No,
Mhm.
I've watched that a few times.
Right. So I guess on that note, I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.